Hi everybody. Today we're looking at midpoint and distance between 2 points. So before we start, we have to consider how to find the midpoint of two numbers. So if we have a number a and a number b, the midpoint of it is found by adding a and b together and dividing by 2. And this applies for anything, not just in Cartesian coordinates, but we can definitely use it to find the midpoint of 2 points by considering the horizontal and vertical components of a coordinate. So if we have point A and point B, here's point A, here's point B, and they had coordinates x1, y1 and x2, y2, the middle of x1 and x2 would be x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and that would give us this point here, which would similarly be the x-coordinate of the middle of the line between A and B. Similarly, we can do it for y1 and y2. y1 is here, y2 is here. This is the vertical component. If we add y1 and y2 together and divide by 2, we'll get this point, which will be the y-coordinate of the midpoint on the line. So if we're trying to write that, we'd write it like this. Add x1 and x2 together, divide by 2, comma, add y1 and y2 together, divided by 2, put it in a bracket, and it becomes a coordinate. Putting x2 and y1 on the graph makes it a little bit more obvious why adding and dividing makes sense to find the midpoint. Okay, let's look at an example. Find the midpoint of 1, 1 and negative 3, 4. Well, we take the two x coordinates, add them together, divide by 2. We take the two y2 coordinates, add them together, divide by 2. Simplifying, 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2, divided by 2 is negative 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, divided by 2 is 5 on 2. Here's the midpoint of these 2 points. Example 1 done. Example 2. If 2, 3 is the midpoint of these two coordinates, find A and B. Okay, so if 2, 3 is the midpoint, 2 must equal 4 plus B divided by 2, which is what I've written here. 4 plus b divided by 2 must equal 2. Simplifying this, multiplying both sides by 2 could give us 4 plus b equals 4. Subtracting 4 from both sides, b equals 4 minus 4, which is 0. So we now know b, we know this value here. Similarly, a would be the addition of the y coordinates and then divide by 2, and that would have to equal 3. So a plus 3 divided by 2 equals 3. A plus 3 must be 6, multiplying both sides by 2. Subtracting 3 from both sides would give us A equals 3. So, the solution is A equals 3, B equals 0. And that's 2 examples of doing midpoint problems. So that was the first thing that we were going to look at. The second thing is, how do we find the distance between 2 points? Well, before we can do that, we have to remember how to use Pythagoras. Here's a right angle triangle. I've labelled this side A, this side B, and this side C. And remembering from Pythagoras' theorem, c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, which can be simplified down to c equals the square root of a squared plus b squared. So we can find the hypotenuse by squaring the sum. The square of the hypotenuse is equal to the square of the sum of the other two sides. Now, we can definitely use this idea to find the distance between 2 points. Here's point A, here's point B. I'll put point C on again. Point C is just the x-coordinate of B and the y-coordinate of A. How far it's gone up, how far it's gone across from the origin. So from that, we can find the distance of a few lines. The line AC, this one over here, is just x2 take x1. There it is there. The line BC is just y2 take y1. And we want to find the distance AB. Well, if we know this distance of a right angle triangle, and we know this distance of a right angle triangle, we can find the hypotenuse by using Pythagoras' theorem. So we take AC, we square it, we take BC, we square it, we add them together, we find the square root, and it gives us this formula here, as AC is just, as we said, x2 take x1, and BC is just y2 take y1, as we found out earlier. Sounds very complicated, quite simple in practice. Find the distance between point A, 2, 3, and point B, 3, 5. Take the x-coordinates, subtract them. Take the square of it. Add. Find the sum. Oh, yeah. Subtract the y coordinates, thus square them. So 2 take 3 is negative 1, 3 take 5 is negative 2, squaring it would be 1, squaring that would be 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, take the square root of it. The answer is root 5 units. Now the only real trap with all of this is dealing with the negative signs correctly. So do remember to subtract, do remember to deal with the negative signs correctly within these brackets. If you do that, these are two fairly easy processes that you can use with linear algebra. Thank you, everybody.